Hello and welcome, guys. Today I would like to show you a list that I've been really working on. It's not perfect, but I really like it, and I think there's a lot of potential for it in this next format. And so this list is the Runick Synchro variant that I've been working on for a little bit. I still want to really perfect it, but at the moment I think this list in particular will be very playable. So to start, it's going to be two fountain. You only play two. I don't know why I said three. 3 tip, 3 freezing curses, 3 flashing fire, and 3 destruction. It is only the good stuff. Fountain is ridiculous for this deck because you just recurs, and worst case scenario, you're going to start playing deck out mode as opposed to just playing your normal list. But we're only playing the good cards. So cards like Slumber, Dispelling, Golden Droplet, Smiting Storm, all not in this list, though I started out by playing with those because they're different names for essentially E-Telly. But the problem is, the Runick cards that you see, you actually want to be good, especially going second, and then going first. It doesn't matter what name you see because you summon and then get rid of the extra deck slot, so you're never really locked out from getting the Fountain recycle. And so you don't need those bad names that a lot of other lists do need to play. And then going second, this list doesn't run much, if any, non-engine at the moment because more or less I'm trying to get the proof of concept down. And also because I think the Runick cards are inherently just good going second. So because of that, we're not running the bad ones because this just does it for you. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the Synchro portion of this deck, and we're really trying to abuse specifically these tuners because they're all really good. So to start, we've got 3 tuning because we're playing 2 different Synchrons, that being 3 of Assault and currently 1 of Revolution, though this is absolutely subject to change. I'm trying to decide what ratio I want Revolution to be at, but it's not the important card for this deck, so I've cut it to the bare minimum at the moment. So Assault Synchron is crazy because what we really need in this deck to go off is specifically a level 2 tuner. This deck goes full combo with a level 2 tuner and then 2 non-tuner level 2s. It's really easy to get that with Hugin from the extra deck if you see a bunch of Runick cards, and then I also play the Sprite engine, a smaller Sprite engine, but the Sprite engine, so that we have more level 2s that we can just put on board in case we don't see the Runick cards or we need to use them for their actual purpose. So we've got 3 Assault Synchron and 3 tuning. It's almost always going to be Assault Synchron we're searching off of tuning. Every now and then, very rarely, but sometimes we'll hit Revolution. Assault Synchron is crazy for this deck because of its reborn off of the tribute effect of any Dragon Synchro. So we abuse the Excel Stardust Synchron, or Synchro Dragon, to put it back on board, ban it by banishing this, and then bring it back off of Dissipator since it's a dark, and then we get 2 level 10s for free by doing that, as well as draw 2. So it's insane, absolutely ridiculous. And occasionally, it matters that this is a dark, because we're playing a very small but important Bestial engine. And this is one of the easier ways to make a light and dark Chaos Angel, is this plus Lubellion. And then as for tuning, other than just searching for Assault, the mill effect is sometimes the best part of the deck, sometimes the worst, but we'll get past that. Because there's a lot of effects in the graveyard that we want to use, whether it be the Ringo Worm to summon a token, Lubellion to tribute a dragon to come back on board, or sometimes you just need to put Revolution in grave so you can bring it back as a level 1. Or the best case scenario is you send a Runick card that's not Fountain, so you get a free draw, essentially, for free. Nothing other than you use tuning. Finally, we have Revolution in here because there are a few level 4s that we're playing, and making Ancient Fairy Dragon is actually really good since it lets us cycle between Fountain and Dragon Ravine at the moment. And then we have a few good dragon targets to send. The extra summon is sometimes important as well. And then finally, Revolution Synchron plus any level 4 not only gets you an extra special and a change of field spell, it also makes Crystal Wing, which is absolutely stupid and just really funny, I think. So it's in the list for that particular reason, also just as a different tuning target. Okay, so we'll move on to the Bestial portion of the deck next, and you're going to have to forgive me for, I have a few proxies here, but at the moment, this is just going to have to do. And the ratios are absolutely subject to change here, but right now we just have 1 Serenir, 1 Magnemite, 1 Lubellion, and 1 Druis Worm. So we have a decently easy access to Lubellion. We'll never need this to be more than 1. But having search targets for him is also pretty nice. We're playing Serenir because if we get a really nice line, we're able to dump Serenir or search Serenir off of Lubellion, put Serenir on board, tribute for Lubellion, send the Regained, and activate Beast, and you've got everything you could ever ask for set up at that point. Outside of that, the Bystials are actually pretty useful for this deck because they are level 6 Darks, non-tuners, and we make a lot of Synchro 8s. And then also we have access to Light and Dark level 4s, so we're always able to make Chaos Angel really, really easily. And so Magnuma just replaces itself, which makes it very useful as a nice little search target. And then Druisworm is really good for Beast. So currently I just have them all at 1, 1, and 1. Although definitely could go up or down depending on deck space. But right now the list is 43 and there's not really any non-engine. So it's definitely up to be varied. So as for the previously mentioned Beast and Regained, of course, 1 in 1. These cards are ridiculous. The grind game that they offer is pretty unparalleled, and then considering we're playing the Runick cards to back that up, it's really crazy. And then of course we'll have the Dragon Ravine so that we can get to Lubellion whenever we need to or want to if we see a way into Ancient Fairy Dragon. And then finally I'm playing one Ringo Worm at the moment because it's a level 2 tuner that can make a level 2 tuner token or non-tuner token depending on what you want. And the flexibility between a tuner and non-tuner is something I find very valuable. Also, it's another target for Dragon Ravine if we've already seen like the Lubellion and the Saronir, or maybe we just draw it and we want discard fodder. So having it in here is pretty good. It's also level 2. Level 2 is really good for the deck, so it's just something to have for sure. And now for the final bits that make up the main deck, it's going to be split into 3 categories, but to start, we're going to go with the Sprite cards. More proxies, so please forgive me, but again, I'll actually be having all these cards very soon. So to start, we've got 3 Sprite Blue. Sprite Blue is just really crazy. It doesn't lock you. It gets you another body for free because you put it on board, you specialed it on board. And so we've got it maxed out as much as we can. Then we'll have 1 red, 1 carrot. Both of these are just generically good. And you could even put these at a higher count in this deck, I bet, and it wouldn't even be a problem. It might even make it better and more recursable. But as it stands, that's what I've got them at. And then finally, we've got Sprite Jet and a starter. So something important to notice here is that there isn't a Sprite starter here. There's a Smashers. We don't want to get locked into 2s. We can't play that because we're always synchro summoning, not going into Exceeds or Links. So we can't really afford to play either Gigantic or Starter, so we're not going to play Gigantic or Starter. We mostly just need these as extra bodies to put on board to either search for more bodies, replacing itself, or just put it like a free negate on board. One of the most annoying things to see happen is you special Hugin and Hugin gets ashed. So being able, if you see Assault already, you find your way into it because that's the main play, you just go Assault, and if you have either red or blue, you just blue for red. And then you dare them to do it, but they can't anymore. They can't ash. It leaves Imperm as the only thing, which can still happen, but it's annoying. But also, again, these are all level 2s, and Sprite Blue is a dark as well as jet, and light and dark level 2s are really, really good for this deck because once again we are playing Lubellion, and one of our goals is to make a light dark Chaos Angel, and that does it for free even though neither are tuners, since Chaos Angel says you may treat a light or dark monster as a tuner. So it makes this really, really easy for the deck. Smashers I think is a good inclusion just because why not? It gives you a jet target. This of course is subject to change, but as a free piece of removal, this might help going second, or even just to bolster your board going first. So that's why we're playing that. Next, we have the tech pieces that we need for this deck to work, really. Sangan is probably the best card in the deck. There's no 2 ways around it. Sangan turns a level 2 tuner into 2 draws for free, more or less, because the main combo line will have you making Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch will be made into Excel, bringing back the level 2 tuner that was used, and then you search for Sangan. Normal Sangan, you make Hyper Librarian, and then after you've made Hyper Librarian and you have Excel, you Sangan search this guy, who can special summon without activating, which makes him extremely useful, especially since he's a level 2 Dark Tuner, right? So you special him out, and then you tribute the Excel, and then you special the Stardust and immediately Synchro, and because both of those are considered Synchro summons, you'll get 2 draws off the Hyper Librarian there, while making a, for this turn, unaffected, normally Dissipator. And then from there, you just continue going off. It's kind of crazy. An interesting piece is actually Avarice. You run through your entire extra deck if you go through the combo line, So playing even just one of this is really important, especially with how many times you're drawing in this deck in a given turn. Seeing into Pot of Avarice can really just help you in the grind game get past the fact that your board was outed once, or maybe you need to get one Hugin Jerry or just a specific Synchro back in the extra deck, and this is one of the only ways to do it, which is really stupid, but it's where we're at. And then for the final bit of this deck, this is something that actually is surprisingly useful. It's the Spirits. It's Sakitama Aratama. It helps that we have a light and dark level 4. And then these each just are an additional normal summon, more than anything else. And that's what makes them very useful. Now, I don't know if we necessarily need the Aratama, but for the time being, it's in the list because it's another attribute. It's also just another one to see, because you really do need to put, sometimes you just need a 2 or 4 on the board. And this is the easiest way to do it. Sakitama is probably better to see out of either of them, because other than the fact that this is the extra normal summon, it's a light. You pair this with any of the Bestials, and you've made a light Dark Chaos Angel just off of those two, which is kind of ridiculous. And so the final piece that we need to discuss is the extra deck for this deck, which is really tight, but I think there's a card or two that can be changed, and we may even be able to change out the runic ratios, but at the moment, it's something that for at least the time being, I'm going to use as a crutch by maxing out the runic cards. So we play 5 runic cards, 3 Hugin, and 2 Jerry. We abuse the hell out of Hugin. Hugin is the #1 play starter. It is a level 2 that we can always emergency teleport, and so it's the easiest card to get on the board to start our combo. The normal combo just needs 2 level 2 non-tuners and a level 2 tuner. So normally that takes the shape of 2 runic spells with different names and the Assault Synchron. If you do that, you have full combo. You can also do it with the Sprite cards as well. Also, this gets you to Fountain, and Fountain is just incredible for the deck. It gives you grind game and lets you just outlast your opponents, as the best way to play this deck is to really just use the good runic cards, cycle, and then you're drawing 3, and then you're just trying to outlast your opponent's hand. You have 3 interruptions for every 1 card they draw on their turn, so it puts you in a very powerful position. Jerry is important as a level 4. This is normally the easiest way to make Ancient Fairy Dragon when you see a Revolution in hand. It also lets you add back the Fountain that you got rid of for the Ancient Fairy Dragon to grab Ravine, so you can cycle that around. It's really funny. I've drawn probably 9 to 12 cards on a turn when I've resolved Jerry like that, which is really stupid and unfair. It's probably more or a lot of win more at that point. But the fact that you can do it and it's just like sitting there for you is really good. It's also a dark level 4, and with Tri-Edge Knight or Master in the extra deck as well, that makes it's another way to make Chaos Angel, which having ways into Chaos Angel is pretty important since we almost never use a tuner to make it. This also being dark and Tri-Edge Light makes it better. And so now we get onto the Synchros. So probably the most important Synchro for the deck is going to be Cupid Pitch. So we make Cupid Pitch with the 2 level 2s, and then it can either increase or decrease its level by the tuner. And then when it's sent as Synchro material, you burn your opponent for that the new Synchro monster's level times 100, and you're able to search for a monster with exactly 600 defense, so that it's always Sangan. And this is what makes the deck work plus Sangan, since that gets you to the rest of your deck, because it gets you an 8 and it gets you Sangan, which gets you to Hyper Librarian. Hyper Librarian draws you a cajillion times, just like Fountain, except this does it more. It also is another card that we can use with the Revolution Synchron at the end of our combo to make like Crystal Wing if we need to, or we want to, if we're into a super monster heavy matchup. But most importantly, it gets a lot of draws, and it forces an Imperm if they've got it, because otherwise they're looking down 20 plus, not 20 plus, but like a good handful of draws that they probably can't outpace. From here, we'll have our utility Synchros. So we've got Ancient Fairy, Tri-Edge, and Tri-Edge. These two are pieces that we make sometimes, not always, though Ancient Fairy Dragon more often. Ancient Fairy Dragon is good because it gets us to the other field spell in the deck, depending on what we have. So if we started with Ravine, we get to Fountain, and vice versa. It also gets you an extra summon, so if you see a Sprite in hand and you need to put it on board and you don't have a level 2, well, now it's on board, and you even get the search if it's a blue or jet. And then also it's level 7, which for Revolution means you can bring it back and make Crystal Wing that way. And you can make Ancient Fairy Dragon by using the Revolution from hand. Tri-Edge Master is a bit on the interesting side. It's here for some of these weird hands or weird positions. So if we make it to a point where we have another level 2 tuner on board and a Runick spell in hand, we can make him, and then he gets us a draw for himself, and then always one for Librarian, because Librarian's almost always on the board at this point. And then we summon Jerry to put these two together into Chaos Angel, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. Boop, boop. And now on to the bread and butter of the deck. So to start, we have the three important level 10 Synchros: Dissipator, Chaos Angel, and Baron. When you run through the combo line the very first time, you will always make Dissipator into Baron, because Dissipator gets you a second Synchro 10, since you use the Excel tribute to make him, right, because you summon out Stardust, and then after that you banish the Excel to bring back the Revolution, you banish the Assault to bring back the Excel, and then bring back the Excel, and you've got another 10. And then it doesn't make sense to make Chaos Angel there, since it's only dark and not light and dark, so we make Baron, and Baron's just an Omni Negate, so you really do like that. And then later on we make Chaos Angel. Whether or not it's on the same turn or on a different turn as a closeout, it doesn't really matter, because this card is just insane, and we're normally trying to make it with light and dark. That way monster effects don't matter, and my Synchros can't be destroyed by battle. So these are the three bosses that we're really trying to end on through all of it. And finally we'll have the level 8s that also make this deck go. So Excel is probably in like slot of second or third best card in the deck, because it's the interaction between Excel and Assault that make the entire deck work. And so we need Excel to make the deck work. Stardust, because we are actually using the tribute effect of Excel, which is really funny. And this is probably the most flexible slot in the entire deck, is Crystalling. It is good that it's a monster negate, but I'm not certain it's something that we need, since we make Dissipator anyways, and then we'll have like all the Runick follow-ups and sometimes even Sprite. But it's something I have in the deck for now because I can't find a better card to replace it. But yeah, so this deck is absolutely a work in progress, and something I'm going to put a lot more time into for the next few weeks, really. I think it's really fun and rewarding until you see evenly matched, but we don't talk about evenly matched anyways. Yeah, the deck is a lot of fun because you just keep going and you look at your opponent and they like kind of die inside because they're like, well, I don't know where to stop this, because there aren't really good spots to stop it every time. There are simply good they're good parts to stop some of the times. Sometimes you need to hit Fountain because we need the draw. Sometimes you need to hit Tuning because we don't have a tuner, but like you're not supposed to hit that because then we can Fountain. Sometimes you need to Imperm on Hyper Librarian, but you've already used it on Hugin because Fountain's that good. Like the deck is both flexible and not at the same time. It's really weird because sometimes the straight Imperm ends the deck, and sometimes it does literally nothing. It's kind of crazy. But either way, going forwards, I would love to hear any input and feedback you guys might have for this list. Things you're concerned about, cards I may be missing. I know that I could be playing like the Chaos Resonator, that level 3 guy that says special if you have a level 8 or higher Synchro, as a different target for Sangan. But besides that, I'm really looking forward to innovation coming with this deck, or some of the cards in this deck like Assault and a Dissipator and Revolution and the Bestials. If you have any ideas of things I should add in or things I should take out, please, I'm begging you, let me know. I had a really rough time this last weekend, which is why I made some of the switches I did. I didn't have any of the Sprites in, I didn't have any of the Bestials in, I didn't have any of the Tamas in, and it was a miserable experience. But going forwards, this should be significantly more consistent and easy to play. Either way, boys, it is time to peace out and get cooking.